Alright guys, I know it's been a while. Very sorry. But I told myself if I didn't do this video, I was going to kick myself. We are 2 days away from the Pokemon World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii. And I said to myself, I should do a video about the decks that I think are going to make a huge impact at World Championships this year. So here I am. Some of these are better choices than others. Some are just a little bit weird for me to be picking. But I thought it's not going to kill me to basically see what they have and go with it. So here goes nothing. One of the top decks I think I'm going to be seeing this year, or this upcoming weekend, I should say more precisely, is, let's see, I'm thinking several, but one of the top decks is Gardevoir EX. A lot of decks that I'm seeing come around is Gardevoir EX. I'm seeing it come around a lot lately. Especially with the one that I've built, which I kind of net decked a little bit, and I'm looking at things, and I'm like, maybe. And then I looked at it, and it worked out well. Using the Fluttermane, the Driftbloom, the Cresselia, all amazing. The Screamtail's awesome. The Fluttermane mostly because of that ability, though. It's like an ability shut off. And overall, that is just brilliant for when you need it. And for me, I needed it. Shutting off abilities can really help out, especially in other decks and with other decks that have it. I'll tell you why in just a second. But that can easily help stop a Charizard. EX's ability can stop Iron Hands, Shenpao, not Iron Hands, Iron Thorns, I'm sorry, Shenpao, Excalibur, with the Super Cold ability. Fluttermane shuts them all off, and it's really good. It's really good. But, of course, Fluttermane has the addition that must be in the active spot. What is this card here? No, I'm looking for. Okay. But other than that, the biggest ability out there in the Gardevoir deck is the Gardevoir itself, with the ability Psychic Embrace, which lets you take an energy from the discard pile, put it onto a Pokemon, and it deals 20 damage to it, but that's a small price to pay. Especially if you put it on something like a Screamtail, which has the attack that does 10 plus, I think it's 20 for each damage attached to it. So you're running away with that. Actually, where's my bag? There's my bag. I'm going to take it out for you. I'll tell you why I think the deck is so good. Hello. Okay. So the Gardevoir deck is really nice. Even before the Gardevoir, the Cresselia. The Cresselia here with the refinement, that ability is awesome. Yep. I always give credit to the Gardevoir because it's really nice. Oh, that's a card I really want to get into as well. That's why this deck plays what it plays. I run 2 of them in the deck. Fluttermane, like I said. It is, as long as this is in the active spot, like I mentioned. Manaphy, so they don't hit things from the bench that are on it. But this is a little bugger right here. Roaring Scream. It does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this one. So you just basically pile it up with things, not to kill it. And then you send it out there with 2 energy on it, and it has like 4 damage on it already, or 80 damage. You're doing, for 20 for each damage, you're doing 160 in a shot. 160 in one shot. Let's see what else is in here. Arven. Gotta have an Arven in here. It's really nice to play some of the certain cards. For example, the TM Evolution, which I played 2 of. The Counter Catcher. An interesting card that I do have in here, 1 copy of, is Professor Suro. Now, I guess it's if I'm going with a Pokemon that's close to getting knocked out on the bench or anything. Pick it back up. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you that too. There's 2 main cards in here that I want to show you. Besides the Gardevoir. Gardevoir is a really good deck. If it's done right, if you're able to get the cards you need when you need them, this deck's going to be a problem. And one of the first ones is the Ace Spec, Unfair Stamp. If you have a Pokemon that got knocked out last turn, you play the Unfair Stamp, you draw 5, your opponent goes down to a 2-card hand. That's hand control. And it's also reminiscent of Roxanne. Yeah, Roxanne. Ooh. As it falls. So basically you have a Ace Spec Roxanne. I think Roxanne, your opponent has to have 3 prizes left in order for you to do that. But then you have this card. I run 2 of the Mungadories. Munkadori has a really good effect that says basically if you have this down and it has a dark energy on it, you can basically pull 20 damage off of one of your Pokemon. Now I play 2 Mungadories and 2 dark energies in this pile of 60. And it has worked every single time. I've had both of them in one game. Both of them in one game. With the dark energy on them. Mungador is really coming out there. Creselia's doing their thing. Screamtail. You're going to see a lot of Gardevoir, I think, at the World Championship this weekend. Another one, I just mentioned it, Charizard. The thing about Charizard is it's going to have a field day matchup against the Gardevoir deck. Gardevoir is weak to darkness, dark-type Pokemon. So if anyone builds a dark-type, such as maybe a Future Box or an Ancient Box with... is it Ancient or Future? It's Ancient. Ancient Box with Roaring Moon in it, Gardevoir is not going to have a good day. Gardevoir won't. Raging Bolt, Roaring Moon, Gardevoir would not have a good day. Okay? But Charizard's Terra type is a dark type, weak to grass, and just the alone attack can do so much in one shot. You're hitting... Let me see. Because now even I'm confused. Because I've looked at it before, and I do not like... I hate playing against Charizard. Can I read that? I need to be able to read it. I cannot read that. Sir, I cannot read that. I cannot read that, sir. They go in TCG Player. Actually, that's where I get a lot of my cards from, too. TCG Player has been the best source for me to grab cards. The ability is Infernal Rain. When you play this from your hand to evolve a Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. And then shuffle. If I have Fluttermane in the active and you decided to do the raw, scary Charizard Pokemon idea, you're not getting the ability. I want to throw that out there. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to it by attacks by both you and your opponent. Burning Darkness for 180 does 30 for each prize card your opponent's taken, so you're already dealing 180. But if your opponent's taken 4, let's say they had a lead, 180 and then 120 is 300. You can basically one-shot almost any Pokemon except for Gardevoir EX. However, since Gardevoir is weak to darkness, Gardevoir is going to get its ass kicked every fucking time. Case closed. But Burning Darkness is amazing. It has 2 colorless retreats, grass ×2 for the weakness, and no resistance. That's still a card, though. And a lot of people play that with Arven, which again is a great supporter. Lets you get an item and a tool from your deck, add them to your hand. A lot of the time they go for the rare candy. Also, a lot of people that play Charizard EX go for the Pidgeot and the quick search ability. That's insanely good to go for. I like seeing a lot of Charizard decks get played. I just hate playing against them. That's me. I'm sorry. It's me. Okay? That's just me. That's just insane. But I do think Charizard's going to make a pretty good out to this year in Worlds. Speaking of Ancient Box, that's actually another one. Ancient Box and Future Box. I think we're going to see some of them. Not a lot, but a few. And I've seen, unfortunately, the downsides for running an Ancient Box deck, because we had an Ancient Box deck that made it to a final in the regionals this past season, and it was 1 card short to do a knockout. And his last 2 prize cards were both ancient cards. I think one of them was an Explorer. That's the only problem they have. They need all their ancient cards, and they need them all quick. Okay? I've seen Hero's Cape get thrown, which, by the way, a lot of Charizard players also play Hero's Cape. I've seen Hero's Cape get thrown, Prime Catcher get thrown in there. The Ace Spec, I don't know if it matters at all. If I had to choose one for the 2, or for the deck, I would go Hero's Cape for the Ancient. You can do it for both. You really could do it for both, but I think Hero's Cape and I would say Prime Catcher for Future. I'm just saying Prime Catcher for Future don't really, on the other end of Future, Iron Hands, Iron Crown, there you go. Iron Crown does a lot to help Iron Hands out and other future Pokemon, because when it's on the bench, it adds an extra 20 damage to the attack, which can help amp you very much, which could help, I think it's Press Slam, or something along that line. Iron Thorns is also there, which will shut off abilities when it's in the active. Much like Fluttermane. You see where I'm going with that? But a lot of future cards get played in that one too. Professor Sora's Scenario. I don't even care if I'm pronouncing it wrong either. Scenario. Cybermaniac's Code Breaking. That's a great card. A lot of future cards get played, but there's not as much as it should be. While Future Box is still okay to get played, I don't expect it to be fully played, like a big amount. Same with Ancient Box. They both have their reduction in playability. But they're gonna see some playtime. You're gonna see quite a few. The next deck I own. It used to be in this box, Giratina Lost Zone. It is no longer Giratina Lost Zone. It is, however, a Lost Zone deck. Complete with all the cards we know. Radiant Greninja's in there. Prime Catcher's in here. Comfey's in here. Switch Carts. Roxanne's. Mirage Gates. I have a Pal Pad in here. I'm crazy, I know. Lost Vacuums. One Boss's Order. A Temple of Sinnoh. Where are some of the other Pokemon? Here they are. Iron Hands. Thank you very much. If I get 10 cards in the Lost Zone, Sableye, big time. For 1 Psychic Energy, putting 12 damage out there? Yes, please. Yes, please. I'll gladly do it. My man spit innocently, Cramorant. Talk about you in a minute. I pulled one off. Cole vs. Experiment, my favorite trainer. Here's a card that I haven't seen in a while. I do play one. Rescue Board. Use it for the Calm Phase. Use it. I have it. I do use it. Mirage Gate's still good. Iron Bundle's in here. And the Iron Bundle I have is the one that basically says I can send it to the discard pile. And you bring up another Pokemon. Which, if I blew, what the hell's the name of that? Hyper Blower. But this is the card I was talking about earlier. Iron Thorns EX, 230 HP. Initialization, which is the effect as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot. Pokemon with rule boxes in play, both yours and your opponents, have no abilities. Except for future Pokemon. Charizard's not a future type. There goes that. Excalibur does not get hit by that. He does not get. He is a Pokemon that does not have a rule box, so he won't get hit by that. This card would. The Ursaluna EX, the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. I love this card in this deck. Because for as many prizes as you've taken, you've helped me out by lowering the damn cost of the attack. I've been known to play this card and have to put 1 energy on it for me to attack you in the face for 240. Yeah, I can't attack you again next turn. Don't care. But you helped me out because I get 1 energy. You took 4 prizes. There goes 4 colorless symbols. Thanks to the ability, you just helped me out. Now, a lot of other decks do play other cards like, Iron Leaves, to help try to combat the Terra-typing Charizard. I tried that in the past, and it never quite worked. It never really fully, to me at least, got to where I needed it to go. But I see why they did it. Okay? But definitely look for the Lost Zone variant decks in the World Championships this year. So let's see, I covered Lost Zone variants. I've covered Gardevoir EX, Charizard, Future Box, and Ancient Box. Ancient Box, by the way, is really good, especially if you have the, like I said, the 2 cards I mentioned, Raging Bolt and Roaring Moon. they don't even have to be the EXs. You can just basically, with a single regular was it region? It was one of the two. Yeah, it was one of the two. I forget which one it was. I think it was Raging Bolt. Could be wrong. You can basically one-shot a lot of things. I've seen it done. I've seen it done during the regionals. I was shocked. I really was. Another deck I want to talk about is another deck that I own, Shen Pao EX. Great deck. It really is a great deck. There's a couple of flaws in it, though. It takes a little bit of time to set up because you need the Baxcalibur out there. You need the Baxcalibur out there. Shivering Chill can help you. Yes, you get 2 water energies from your deck into your hand. Okay? But if you're only playing with 1 Frigibax to start, you're in deep trouble. If you have a Frigibax benched and Shen Pao active, you could be okay for a turn. Iota makes it possible to get that card because it lets you get a water Pokemon and an item. So you can go for Baxcalibur, Rare Candy, right off bat when you can play a supporter. Which is why that deck really does it does it prime and does it very well going second. Because you can play your supporters, you can attack. You can evolve going second, but if you already have, by going second, and that Frigibax sits on the bench, you're going second, your first turn, you're throwing out Iota, Baxcalibur, Rare Candy, show them to your opponent, you're good. As long as they don't play Iono, you're fine. As long as they don't play Iono, you're good. Or any card like Roxanne, or whatever the case may be, that will shuffle your hand back in. Right now, the only threat I see is Iono. But at the same time, you really hope that your opponent does not have Boss's Orders in their hand by the start of the next turn. Because if they do and they knock out your Frigibax, you are going to fall so far behind. Now I know what you're thinking, well that's why you have Buddy Buddy Poffin and Nest Ball. Yes, that's true. But remember, the Frigibax line's only 3-2 at any point. I never put a 4th one in there. My Frigibax line has been 3-0-2. No Artibax in there, only Frigibax and Baxcalibur. And I know what you're also going to say. Super Rod's a thing. Yes, I know that. But Shen Pao is still a deck that is a little slow to take off. But if it takes off, you're going to be fine. The only thing you got to remember is to keep a watch for your energies, because superior energy retrieval is still a thing, even though the trade-off isn't really that good. And I'll be honest, and let me explain how. You're probably guys all thinking I'm crazy, but let me explain why my reasoning is this. A regular energy retrieval card lets you get 2 cards back from the discard pile. 2 basics back from the discard pile. For no cost. You basically play the card, gain 2 cards. Which in terms, trade off nothing. Or 1 card if you're considering counting the the energy retrieval as a card. I consider it no trade-off. I consider it a beneficial gain of 2. Superior energy retrieval lets you get 4 cards back from the discard pile, but you must discard 2 cards in order to play it. Therefore, your beneficial retrieval is 2 cards. It's only a 2-card gain, because you're gaining 4 energies, yes, but it costs you 2 cards to play. So how many cards are you gaining? 2. Therefore, I don't consider Superior the best card in the deck. Yes, it can help you get rid of cards like Nest Ball, Buddy Buddy Poffin if you don't need them. If you don't need them. But if you need them and you have a energy retrieval in your hand, you're going to have to give them up. And hope to God that you have the 4 energies, can get them right off, and possibly have a research in hand. Which doesn't happen often. A lot of Shenpao players don't play Professor's Research. I don't. I know many players out there that I've seen their decks and seen how they did things, and they don't have it. Suro and Sada don't see the light of day in a drop hand draw 7 type of deal. Not at all. None. But I do, if Shenpao does hit it, which I actually do hope Shenpao does go through, because I know we had a Shenpao player that did win a regional. I believe it was in Europe. I hope Shenpao does something. I sure do. Because, not to be honest, I've been a fan of Shenpao for years. I have always been a fan of Shenpao. But right now, my fandom is fading for that card. It is fading, and it is fading fast. It really, really is. Okay? Because Shenpao is slow to get started. It's hard to keep constant. And if you only have a Frigibax in play, you are in serious trouble. And yes, like I said, I know Nest Ball, Buddy Buddy Poffin, Ultra Ball, they're all still things. Heavy Ball, you play one of them. Only one of them, but you can play it. Yes, they're all things that you can use. How many do you think will be beneficial? How sure are you that you'll be able to draw what you need to keep your opponent away from your board next turn to do the necessary moves required to possibly get you a 1-turn win, or at least severely damage them? Or possibly gain a prize or 2 in the process by turn 2 or turn 3. As much as I love the deck, as much as I love this deck, as much as I think this deck right here in my hand, which has Bidoofs in it, Prime Catchers in it, Iertas, Superiors, the Heavy Ball, and 3 fucking Shenpao EXs, and an Iron Hands EX in this deck. Out of everything I've done, I've only done one thing to change it, and that's this card here. Silene. I was told by a friend, put 1 in and try it. Flip 2 coins for the number of cards up to the number of heads from your discard pile on top of your deck in any order. Do you know what that helps? Do you really want to know what that helps? Radiant Greninja. But you need to have one of these in play or in your hand to get rid of. And if you have a Shenpao in play and its ability, thank God, isn't turned off, you can make it happen. And the Bidoof is there for card draw for your hand. So there you go. Don't play research, but got Bibarel, because Bibarel has the Industrious Incisors ability. It has it. Alright. I vented my frustrations out. But ultimately, I gave you 5 decks that I think are going to be shown at regionals. Gardevoir being the most popular. Charizard coming in second, along with Lost Zone variant coming in third. Or tied for second, more likely. Future Box, Ancient Box tied for fourth. And the last deck, Shenpao EX. You might see the least of it. As much as I don't want to say that, you know, I'm going to give you a 6th deck because I think it's going to be fun to do. I want to see how many Lucaria decks are going to be out there. Or not Lucario. Sorry, Lugia decks are going to be there. Because I know Lugia was still a good thing back in the beginning of the season, and even towards the end it had several appearances. I want to see how good that would be. I really do want to see how good Lugia can compare. Can Lugia still keep up? Now that Temporal Forces and Twilight Masquerade are out, can Lugia still keep up? There are some great cards out there. One of my favorite trainers, by the way, for the current time is Eerie. It lets you look at your opponent's hand and they drop all items. That's key. But that's a video for another time. I'm going to actually talk about trainers and supporters that I like in Pokemon. We'll do that in the next video. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, of course, and hit the notification bell if you have not yet, and set it to all. All videos that I create, you'll get the first hit. And I'm thinking, guys, because I want to start producing a lot more videos, and I know I keep saying that, and it sounds kind of far-fetched. No pun intended on the Pokemon. But I really want to try to see, with the videos that I thought about and are going to come out with, if maybe I should start a Patreon account. Maybe. I don't know yet. I have not decided fully yet what I'm going to do. But